Hello everyone, welcome to Mindovermania. My name is Christian, and today I'm recording another Pick a Card reading. Today's topic is going to be about how do you keep your head above the chaos? This could apply to a situation, everyday life. It could apply to a number of different situations. In order to select your pile, I want you to put both feet firmly on the ground. Close your eyes, take a couple deep breaths, clear your mind. And whenever you open your eyes, the first thing that your eyes look at is more than likely going to be your pile, unless you have any other way of sensing what pile works for you. We have 4 piles today to select from. The first one is going to be represented by the skull with flowers, the Go With Your Gut sticker for pile 2. Pile number 3 is represented by the sun sticker. And pile number 4 is getting represented by your energy introduces you before you even speak. Okay? Go ahead and select your pile. If you enjoy your reading, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Check out my links down below for my website, resources, and if you're interested in providing a donation, and check my website out for future events. Well, without further ado, I will see you at your pile. Hello everyone, you have chosen pile number 1, and these are going to be your messages on how to keep your head above the chaos. Right off the bat, I'm feeling you guys definitely are struggling right now, emotionally, mentally. You're exhausted, you're tired, and most importantly, though, you guys are scared. I feel like you're very afraid of either your financial situation, politics in particular. I think you guys are looking at the world as a large, and you're struggling to trust right now. All right, and so your spirit guide team is just trying to remind you that your ancestors they're concerned and they're worried, but they have the confidence that they can guide you through to get you through these hard times right now. Please be open to your psychic messages, downloads, any of those sorts of spiritual sensations or feelings. Now is not the time to be focused on dating. Now is the time to be taking care and preparing for action, as there's going to be a lot of discourse and change coming up in the next couple of months. And there's going to be a lot, like centuries worth of built up energy that's going to be released in a couple different bursts of energy. There more than likely will be some violence, and so that's why you guys should probably take better care of yourselves than what you're doing right now. Let's go ahead and see what cards Spirit wants me to address today. So the first card you got is Lalita, the Red Goddess. Playfulness is a spiritual power. Laughter leads me back to light. Yeah, so Spirit is reminding you that it's important to have a sense of humor and to stay positive while you're going through your transformation. For some of you, you're maybe going through a glow up. However, this transformation is more so spiritual in realigning you back with your original values, as well as you're just transforming into somebody different. And I think that's what's a bit uncomfortable, is you don't really know who you're becoming. While on the one hand, yes, maybe you are looking more attractive and whatnot, maybe the way you wear your clothes, your hair, your style, but there's something about your love and passion for life will be a little bit more authentic because now you know what the cost and what it took to get there. There's something about you getting easily distracted, and so Spirit's trying to keep you focused on what is the most important aspects of your life right now. Do you have health? Do you have wealth? Do you have money? Do you have people supporting you? Definitely take stock and make sure that you're routinely checking in with yourself and on your boundaries, because I feel like during these next upcoming years, you're going to watch a lot of collapsing, and I'm seeing you guys, you're going to be safe and fine. I'm seeing like a lot of sparkle. If anything, you guys are going to be shaping up compared to a lot of other people. And I don't know, I'm seeing it's like you're a star. I don't know if you're going to become popular, or there's something about your beauty and your mind and spirit really inspire other people. And that's why it's so important to protect your mental health during this time. Again, with all of these butterflies, I'm seeing I just keep feeling you're going to be awakening. You're going to transform into this beautiful butterfly and take flight. And I feel like softness is going to be on the rise. And I feel like your superpower is going to be that balance of your masculine and feminine energy. But there's something about your frequency that you just know, like you're going to have a new form of confidence because you're going to gain a lot of wisdom through your energetic connections with spirit, and also the connections you make along the way. So the choices you're making right now are setting a foundation for not only yourself but for others and a specific community of folks. And you're going to do well. And that's why spirit's just trying to reassure you to calm your nerves, because I think when you are reminded that spirit's on your side, you can't you can't be led astray or led to something that's not meant for you, ultimately. And I know we all hate that phrase when we're stressed out and we're scared, but ultimately it's true, because right now you can use your circumstances around you to build you back up. If anything, I feel like, I don't want to say you've been through worse times, but I will tell you that your experiences leading up to this point, I think you had a tougher time back then because you didn't know the power of your own mind, your body, and spirit. You didn't know spirit as well as you do now. And so being able to carry those lessons forward will make it much easier to overcome obstacles in the future, because you're going to be fine within yourself. You're going to have that balance. You're going to know how to protect your energy. We have, for the next card, Catherine Labore, the patroness of miraculous healing. I'm ready to heal. I'm worthy of the miracles meant for me. Yeah, so in order to keep your head above the chaos, focus on yourself. And there's something about, like, by you focusing on you, that is the healing work you need to be doing right now. Specifically, stop trying to change your body, your mind, your spirit. Because, like, again, I know you're going through this magical transformation right now and you're becoming this person, but you're still at the beginning stages right now, guys. And there's something about, like, you keep talking about spirit and spirit guides and all these other things, but you're not actually living in the present, and you're not healing your body the way it needs to heal. And that's through stillness. It's through meditation. It's through acceptance and letting go of your will and replacing it with spirit's will. And specifically, my eyes are getting drawn to meant for me. If something is meant for you, then just accept it. Accept the way that it is. Some of you guys are getting very stressed out about the big picture in the world, and you are going to witness some people experiencing hardship and tough times. And understanding and accepting the fact that if you were meant to have prosperity and to shine during this time while other people aren't, that's not your fault. And that's a gift that's being given to you now. And there's something about, like, finding joy in these moments. Like, if anything, you are healing people by remaining joyful. You know what I mean? If people are giving you their last dime to support you as you go about your healing journey, it's okay to release the resentment and bitterness of what living is like here on Earth, because it really doesn't have anything to do with you. Because unfortunately, money gives you access to certain kinds of power in the human realm, and the journey and pathway that you're going to be going down is to liberate yourself from death and from the frequencies that were holding you down in the past. And again, by you shining, you're inspiring others. And that is so important during dark times such as these, okay? Seeing you be strong but kind and gentle and healing towards other people is ultimately going to lead you back to spirit and allow you to go through a deep resolution to some conflicts that you've been struggling with inside of yourself. And again, remembering that you're worthy is the most important step. Okay, guys, I know it's easy to feel selfish and monstrous whenever you're having an easier time or just getting out of your own way. I think some of you guys were just neglected as a child, or maybe you're just having a hard time getting over the death of a relationship or a person or a system. Because that's the other thing too, is like maybe you're moving back in with your parents for a little bit, or maybe you're just taking the time to step away from the chaos that's happening. And you're thinking, man, what am I doing? You know, the whole world is falling apart out there and I'm supposed to be out there, when really you're meant to be healing right now. Because you need to be stronger in order to fight your next battle or whatever's coming next for your frequency. And you're going to be stepping up in a big way. and you have a lot of really exciting things going for you, and you're moving towards the light. Okay, guys, like the more you stay in touch with yourself and your mind, your body, and your spirit, it's going to get easier along the way. I was wrong and I am sorry. Yeah, let go of your ego. So in order to keep your head above the chaos, you got to stop focusing on what you're doing wrong. Okay? Because I think that's limiting you from your human experience, because right now there's a lot of chaos going on that's out of your control. And stop saying you're sorry when for things that you aren't sorry for. There's definitely this rebellious energy and nature to it, but then you're trying to submit in ways that don't make sense for you. You know what I mean? It's like, how can you be strong in these moments but then apologizing to your abusers when you didn't do anything wrong? You know, Spirit is trying to highlight this dichotomy so that way you focus on what a sorry actually means to you. And pay attention to the times in your life when someone has apologized to you, when that sorry is coming in. Because if you're noticing these chaotic environments and spaces, there's not a lot of sorry that's going on. So why are you wasting time in environments where sorry is no longer an acceptable answer? You know? There's something about like wrong and right, and it's very rigid, and I just feel like you're a very beautiful spirit, pal number one, and you want to make sure that you remain flexible despite all the chaos going on around you, because that's kind of what they want. You know, the people that are trying to coordinate all of this stuff, they want you to be shaken, disbelieving, and rigid, you know, and not fluid and able to go with life's punches, because they're not. They're pretty rigid. That's how they cope with the chaos that's life, and they don't have your spirit guide team guiding them. And if they did, they made choices that ultimately weren't working in their favor in the long run. Love will never be a word worthy enough to describe how I feel for you. Yeah. Again, that worthiness is coming out again. We see it twice here. Something about like describing how you feel, I think will definitely help you with what's going on. Something about feeling included, you know, making sure you're in spaces where you are loved authentically and you're able to just be yourself for a moment. That will definitely help, especially if you're in a community that may be exceptionally triggered right now with what's going on. Know that you're enough, that you're worthy of love and protection from your ancestors, and spending time with the people you have around you is going to be very pivotal during this time, and reminding you of who you are and what life's all about, you know, and that living can still be happening despite all of the things that are going on. I'm also feeling something with like transaction as well, so avoid transactional behaviors. But you know, if you got to survive, you got to survive. Okay. But yeah, just be transparent with yourself and others about your boundaries, because I think the more you love yourself, the more others are going to either love you or show you that they're not a good match for your life. With lockdown, mental prison confined, yeah, I feel like some of you guys, you are shutting down as a result of the chaos that's going on around you. You don't know how to feel, and I think that's important to admit to yourself first, that all of the big feelings that you're trying to process, you don't know what you're doing. But a lot of it is mental. And so the first step of this is grounding it. And so taking it from being a thought inside of your head and turning it into an emotion, and say, okay, let me just feel it throughout my body. And what is it trying to tell you? What is it reminding you of? Because some of this is maybe a reminder from the distant past. With confined, I feel like you're feeling trapped, and you're so scared you're going to be trapped forever. And the reality is, this is only a brief period of time in your history and in human history. So what are you going to do for it? Do things that are for you, and that's going to keep your head from completely shutting down. Because the more you're able to tell your body, hey, I'm going to allow myself to be depressed for a little bit, but then I have to get up and I have to take a shower. I have to go to work. I have to eat. You know, it's things like that where, you know, reminding your body, mind, and spirit that like living is still living every single day, regardless of who's in charge, right? And you're going to be able to get through this when you stop clawing at your head and face what's happening inside of you, because then you can reclaim your strength back instead of it being a weakness. Hang on to your butts. Yeah, I think you just got to have this energy where it's like, hold tight. The suck is coming. It's something about butts. I don't know. Again, there's that humor coming in, basically saying, like, you know what? If you gotta make a silly, stupid joke every once in a while, go for it. But it is going to be difficult, maybe for you and your family or people around you, and it's important that I'm just hearing like you got to smile the whole way through and grin and bear it. Only because you don't have to force yourself to be somebody you're not, but at some point you the fact that you can bring joy into a situation that seems and feels very dire, it gets infectious and it allows other people to loosen up as well as yourself. And then when other people start to kind of shake off the doom and gloom, then you can start actually going through that healing process and remaining open to at least other possibilities of what could happen at this time. And then finally, you don't need approval to exist or meet your needs. Yeah, don't allow other people to control you or to get back into bad habits just because someone got elected or there's some type of change or challenge going on in your community's life. Something about existing to accept your truth in your existence, and like you're not a burden for existing, guys. There's something special about y'all and something about meeting you. Yeah, meet your needs, and you don't have to listen and believe the things that are going on TV, or maybe what toxic family members or strangers are saying. Again, anybody who's like going out of their way to actively hurt and sabotage people in society, their needs are not being met, and they're probably having a terrible time accepting their own existence, and I think it just can be life can just be so cruel, and it does things to people. I'm not justifying anything, but what I am saying is that don't allow that kind of energy to latch onto you. Focus on you, focus on your survival, and focus on your needs. Once those are met, then you can expand into, okay, what do I want to do today? I've got a little extra time after work. Let's go get some ice cream. You know what I mean? And sit and talk about movies. You know? Just really trying to keep things surface level and basic will help reduce the strain. I mean, like for some of you guys, it is a strain to focus on stuff like that because that's absolutely what you don't want to talk about. But the point is the way to keep your head above the chaos is routine and structure and balance in a chaotic environment. It's about developing discipline for your mind, body, and spirit, being like, listen, I understand everything's chaotic, but I will not give to the chaos because I'm serving the light. And the light's going to ward off all this other extra stuff, but in the meantime, I need to make sure that I'm focused. And focusing is really going to help you. Some of you are like, oh, I've got ADHD. It's like, well, that's not the kind of focus we're talking about, right? If you've always loved a certain kind of TV show or a certain video game character or whatever, latch onto that for a little bit. If you got to be a kid for a little bit, great. But you still got to be an adult and manage your responsibilities. A quirk is different than neglecting yourself. And you're not children anymore, okay? And I hope I don't have kids watching me, because I'm not exactly a child-safe type. This YouTube channel isn't for kids, but at the end of the day, you guys can have fun and be responsible and protect yourselves at the same time. Yeah, and let go of this death energy, because just because times are bad doesn't mean you can't live and find a life, even through all this chaos. Anyway, send you guys a lot of love. I appreciate the time and energy you spent listening to this reading. If you would like a personal message from me, feel free to book me in the links down below. Anyways, good luck, guys. I will see you next time. Take care. Hello, everyone. You have chosen group number 2, and you got the sticker Go With Your Gut. And we're going to get messages on how to keep your head above the chaos. So right off the bat, I'm hearing don't go back. So I don't know if you guys left a relationship that was not so good for you, or maybe you're just having some doubts about what you should be doing at this time. Right now off the bat, I feel like due to all the chaos, you're like, maybe you left a situation or a certain habit and you're starting to like you're treading water and you're slowly developing better habits, but at any moment in time you're like, man, I could end up back with that addiction or back with that person. Don't. Okay, I'm just saying right now, don't hang out with those old friendships. Don't move towards anything that will even signal you to go back. Because right now, as the chaos is kind of starting to pick up and build and you're going to get stressed, you got to start relying on these new coping skills that are supposed to help you out with making sure you're not treading water. Because there are sharks in the water, and if you continue to tread, eventually one of those sharks are going to catch up to you. Now, your spirit guide team's safe, but are keeping you safe, but at the end of the day, if you don't start doggy pedaling a little bit, you're going to be left behind, especially when this person catches up to you. I don't know what that means, but I don't know. Did you piss somebody off? I don't know. I don't know. I think you're more pissed off than this person. All right, so the first card you got is Rita of Cassia, the patroness of impossible causes. I am miraculous. My prayers create powerful channels of possibility. Yeah, so in order to keep your head above the chaos, first of all, I think like either mantras or just kind of like a routine would really help you guys. For some of you, maybe it's like washing your face and brushing your teeth every morning. And in the evenings, maybe saying a little prayer before going to bed, or maybe even while you're washing your face. There's different ways that you can include mantras and some kind of like, you need like a daily routine and spiritual practice to cleanse your energy and bring protection into your space, okay? And even if you don't believe in some of the channeled stuff or the spirituality side of things, it's just the routine and habit of uplifting your spirit and connecting to something outside of yourself. And our bodies and minds react when we actually say these things out loud. So, for example, every time you tell yourself that you love yourself and look at yourself in the mirror, over time you train your body to believe it. And especially if you're struggling with like depression or you're just coming out of a bad cycle, that will help close the gap significantly when you're able to start utilizing this base level form of self-confidence. With this hand here too, I'm almost seeing like her hand over her heart. That's another thing too, is like check in with your breathing, you know, taking time to like really connect with yourself. And it's kind of funny too, because it's like, if you like to pray like a traditional prayer or whatever, that's fine. But I feel like even just tapping in with yourself is your own little prayer and homage to yourself to say, hey, thank you, Spirit, for giving me life right now. And yeah, and it also allows you to receive more intuitive messages at this time. Because I think like your psychic abilities are going to start getting more. Okay, I don't want to say psychic abilities, but there's something about your consciousness is going to start being more and more aware with what's going on around you. And so you really got to make sure that you're getting into a steady routine of clearing your energy out from other people's stuff. And give yourself a good giggle every once in a while. Focus on your gut health as well. Please make sure that you are eating healthy and you're not like regressing back into old patterns of behaviors of like eating junk food or yeah, I just feel like just making sure you're taking care of your body, because that's also going to spiritually help you stay healthier and boost your immune system. And there's something too about like just being careful, because like with impossible, because at first I was like impossible causes, I was like impossible cases, and I was thinking of like a medical thing, and then I was like, no, like the impossible thing is a blockage that you have. Is you're saying it's impossible for me to be this or for this to happen. And it's kind of like with the patroness, like the word patron, I feel like, you know, you're being divinely protected at this time, or you're going through like a miracle transformation. You know what I mean? So like say for example, you had an addiction to to something really difficult to break free from, and spirit saying, "Hey, you want out? Okay." You know what I mean? Like, be open to the possibility that overnight your life could change in a very dramatic, positive way. Just as dramatic as having a negative thing come into your life, it's like, I feel like, you know, she's holding her hand out literally with like her heart, and the universe is like, here, take my hand and let's see how far we can go. You know, and there's just going to be a whole ascension process. And some of that you're going to be learning a lot about your body. You're going to be learning about your bandwidth, and your heart's just going to be so full that you're not really going to notice a lot of this chaotic stuff over time as you start to really put some pressure and heat on just toning it down and focusing on your future and yourself. I cared too much about others' opinions. Yeah. So, one way to keep your head above the chaos right now is focus on your opinions and notice how much they're changing. Because I think like the more you take care of yourself, the more you're present in your body, other people's opinions, you're going to notice how they impact you. Okay. So, some of this is going to be a little bit political, where you're going to be noticing, oh, hey, that person, when they're talking about that, they're actually saying some really mean things. And I don't want to be around a person that, introduces spite into all their messages. With cared too much, I feel like you're mislabeling caring too much for passion when I don't know. I think you just need to get back into being passionate again. Because when everything's getting chaotic and crazy, it's like, yeah, you've got this big fiery heart. Why not use it? But like, you don't have to use it for political gain or money or wealth or anything like that. It just should be a passion for life. Maybe you really used to get passionate about like the Power Rangers when you were a kid, and it's like, you know what? Maybe you need to go out there and get passionate about something just like that again. It doesn't have to be the same thing, but if you want to try re-experiencing that, try it again. If there was something as a kid that you were super passionate about it, get in that onesie, go do the thing, and then after you're finished laughing with your friends, sit down and be like, okay, now as an adult, what would I do now? What can I do better? What can I do to raise my opinion of myself, but also the opinion of others around me? Because there's something about like with caring too much about others' opinions, it's like you can care about other people's opinions. It's just, what are the right ones? Like, who cares about like, what you look like and what they think of your financial situation? But if it comes down to, okay, I care about getting this person's respect because of the fact that I value and trust our relationship. I care about their opinion if they are commenting on, hey, you're doing something that seems unsafe and not good for you. Are you okay? You know what I mean? Like, there's a huge difference, and like, go with your gut on that because some people's opinions really don't matter, but other ones kind of do. And I think you're now starting to learn to see the difference. Card number 3, I hope the ones who harmed you lose every chance at loving again. Yeah, I think you're going to shift into this attitude where people are going to lose every chance of getting to know you once you start really getting to know yourself more. With the I think there's going to be a lot of hope that you wish people are going to rise up to meet you, but in order to keep your head above the chaos and stay grounded during all these other things that are going on, you're going to have to lose hope for a little bit. Not until the dust settles, anyway. And, like, with losing, I feel like you have to accept the possibility that, yeah, you are going to lose some people. And you may lose yourself along the way with this chaos, but I think you did a worse job in the past simply because you didn't know you had other options that you could get out, right? And so, like, the word lose, I think, is very triggering to you simply because I don't think you know what you're actually losing. And sometimes what you're losing is actually a gain. You know what I mean? With loving again, I feel like you're afraid that you're never going to get loved again, or you're never going to find a person like that relationship or partner again. And you will, but it's going to come in a different form and a way that's much more healing and loving in its frequency. Yeah, it's interesting because it's like your gut. I mean, your gut knows best ultimately. Because like if you're getting sick around a person or the idea of them, that's probably a sign that they're not actually as good for you as possible. Don't feed the Delulu, guys. Keep going. I got you. I don't react when people mention you. Yeah. In order to, keep your head above the chaos here, I keep using that. Like I said, you gotta have those mantras. Don't don't ask about this person. You know what I mean? It's like the less you ask about that person, the less their energy enters your system. And there's just something about, like, I feel like you're just going to end up erasing people from your past that don't matter to you anymore. And with, like, mentioning you, like, I feel like you're going to have other people talking about you, and trying to get your attention. And there's something about just being like, hey, I'm not going over there. My intuition's telling me no, so I'm not going over there. You know, you're going to see people trying to invite you back into their friend group, or they're going to try, like, wooing you over, or, like, maybe they're going to come over to your house and, like, make you a meal, or I just see this energy of people trying to get under your skin, especially as they're watching you change. And now that you have a stronger foundation and sense of self and self-worth, you're going to look at them and go, "Oh no. No, 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 no. What are you even doing?" And it's going to feel really kind of gross and intimidating after a while. Or, well, okay, I should say maybe at first. And then you're going to slowly rediscover your self worth, and you're going to kind of laugh about it because you have eyes now. And it's like you couldn't see before, but you definitely know now. And they are not messing with you. You came closer than anyone. Yeah, I think you're going to redefine what it means when people are close to you, because you're going to have a better balance of relationships, okay? Because you're going to know when someone's talking crap about you behind your back. You're also going to know when someone's words actually, like, stand out, and mean something. They're not just saying things to say things, they're actually showing up. With anyone, you're not accepting just anyone anymore. You don't have to go with the crowd, and so now you can be a little bit more selective with your friend group, and you don't have to have that many people either. But some of you guys, you are going to have many people. If anything, you're going to have more people than you know what to do with. And that's okay, just let life lead you where you gotta go, to the right people, Don't slow down, though. Solitude, yeah. In order to keep your head above the chaos, make sure you're spending time by yourself, or with your roommates, or just doing more low-key events. I think making sure that you're just getting back into your, not like old mindset, like for maybe you guys, when I say old mindset, I'm talking about like back when you were a little bit more stable, just kind of being like, okay, but like please don't allow social media or other things to get under your skin, because like isolation can also be tricky too. So it's like having a healthy, balanced relationship with solitude will be important. And your final card is settling. Yeah, I feel like most people, everyone's like, don't settle, don't settle. But I feel like there's like a level of settling down that you need to accept in your heart first before you can start making positive decisions and change towards your next future. The main reason why I'm saying settling is everyone hates that word because they don't know what it means. And I think too, like when it comes to settling, there's a difference between I'm gonna stay in an unhealthy relationship. That's not settling. That's just like self-harm. Versus like with you guys, when I'm saying settle your heart down, I think it comes in a couple different categories. It comes from the place of you need to know where your heart's actually at, and you can't do that if you're constantly trying to entertain things that don't serve you. Um, the other piece of this is, oh, one sec. The other piece of this is you're gonna have to let go of your idea of having like a fun party lifestyle, or there's some kind of like a lifestyle that isn't for you, that is not long term meant for you. You know what I mean? It's kind of being like, okay, like just because you see it on TV or your friends are doing it does not mean that that's good for you and good for the lifestyle that you're trying to build within yourself. Um, Sorry, I don't know why, but it's like I feel like I'm needing to peel off my tape for my tattoo all of a sudden, and I'm like, all right, I guess now's the time. And that might be resonant with you too, where it's like, okay, I did all my healing, now it's time to see the finished product, right? But ultimately, though, guys, just go with your gut. Your body and your mind are going to tell you exactly what you need when you need it. And so these are just some tips and tricks to kind of help this particular pile with what's happening. Um, Anyways, though, guys, thank you guys so much for participating in this reading. Please like, subscribe, comment down below if you enjoyed it, and if it resonated with you. And please like, comment, share, all that good stuff. Subscribe to support my YouTube channel. I do have a website where if you're interested in booking a reading, you can get information there. I also have resources in case you're looking to contact a professional to get, some assistance with whatever's going on in your life. Keep your head above the chaos and consider talking to a therapist, because they can definitely help you navigate life's difficult choices and all the things that are going on. Anyways, though, I will see you all next time. Take care. Hello, everyone. You have chosen group number 3 with the sun sticker, and this is going to be your reading on how to keep your head above the chaos. Right off the bat, when I was preparing to channel your message, I was hearing, don't message them. There's something about, like, you really want closure, and you're like, I'm just seeing you bouncing around where you're like, I want to talk to this person, or I want to, like, get resolution for this conflict, and your spirit guide's saying, no, slow down there, Tiger. You're just feeling really anxious. I don't know if you guys have, like, an anxious avoidant attachment style going on where you're like, oh my gosh, this person ghosted me, or this person doesn't want to talk, or isn't saying anything at all, and it's driving you crazy. And there's something about this chaotic situation where it feels like it's mostly internal, or you're kind of projecting or creating a stir or chaos when there doesn't need to be one. Take what resonates, but I feel like you're like, well, I think it's justified because this is how I feel and this is what I'm observing going on. And your spirit guide team's like, well, actually, it's a little more involved than that. I feel like as you start peeling back the layers of your situation and the chaos, you're going to calm right down, but you're also going to regret some of your past decisions or maybe some things that you said or did, which you live and you learn. You know, it's not anything that's not irreconcilable, but, like, you just got to be careful going forward, especially in your connections with your communities and this person, if you want to remain in a steadfast position. Ooh, I was feeling a little bit of pain. I'm kind of tearing off my tattoo peel right now as I'm talking, because I feel like I'm like, oh yeah, I want to reveal it, and they're just like, are you sure? It's like, you could just make it quick, instead you make it ugly, you know what I mean? Ooh. Ouchie. But it gets better over time, you know? It's like, all you gotta do is you gotta peel it off once, and then keep washing it, you know? Just like a Band-Aid, sometimes you gotta rip it off and run with the decision that you made, you know? Alright, anyways, we're gonna go ahead and see what cards you guys got. The first card is, please don't blame yourself. Yeah, so your spirit guide team is like, first of all, like, I mean, I know what I had just said, talking about, like, yeah, some of it's kind of your fault or whatever, but please don't, like, beat yourself up more than you already are. I think you guys are pretty anxious about the situation in general, and I think, like, your anxiety could be a little bit more contained. And I think, like, you putting pressure on yourself to be better or do better than what you can currently, what you're capable of, and I think that's, like, where you're going wrong with this whole situation, is you're trying to be somebody else that you're not, someone that is maybe more capable than what you can allow yourself to be, or you're projecting this ideal or idealism that isn't really worth fighting for, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't know if you go to church, or there's some kind of, like, a zeal that you have towards trying to convert other people or trying to make them see your ways, instead of just accepting that people are different and you don't always need to control a situation, make you feel safe. Okay? And, like, with blame, you know what I mean? It's like, there doesn't always need to be a right and a wrong answer. Sometimes there's just right, and sometimes there's just wrong, and there's not one good way to do relationships. And with this chaos, oh my gosh, it's like, with me pulling my tattoo tape off, it's just like, the longer you drag this out, or the more you do this to yourself, the more you're just hurting you, and you're not actually acknowledging the pain that you're putting yourself through, instead of just either talking to the person or trying to blame the person, instead of sitting down and just hashing out what it is that happened and what cycle you're going through. Oh gosh. Ow. Yeah, I'm seeing, like, gritting my teeth, you know? It's like, and also too, like, if you're not ready for a situation, like, don't blame yourself for not being ready. You know, it's like, we're not always at our best mental 100% all the time, and especially when you're in difficult times or you're struggling, you're not always going to be at your best or in charge of everything that's going on in your situation, especially mentally if you're dealing with a mental illness and whatnot. So, again, please something about a party too. I don't know if a party was significant. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be okay. Yeah, I took off my tattoo tape and now there's my tattoo. I got my sword going on. Yeah, maybe swords and shields are significant for you and this person. Yeah, again, I feel like this might be relationship oriented in a chaotic environment. Again, this could also be related to like a chaotic family or family system where you just can't get a gauge of what's going on, and so it's causing you to get triggered, even though it's their issue, and there's just like all this conflict when there doesn't need to be any. Like, maybe it's like you and this person came from two different family system values, and so you're misinterpreting each other. Or I wouldn't say misinterpreting, but it's kind of like you have different ways of handling conflict and disorder and chaos. And they're reacting in a way that triggers you, and you're reacting in a way that triggers them, but like you're very similar, if that makes sense, and that's why it's a trigger in the first place. Yes, I heard you. So if you're like in no contact right now, I just want to make it very abundantly clear this person's quite aware of your thoughts and feelings right now. I feel like there's also like this, if you've got like this little question in your mind right now, the answer is yes. With the I heard you though, it's definitely like, for example, if someone's non-action or silence has gotten you in a tizzy and you're just kind of spiraling as a result of it, take that as a lesson and a message to you to not worry about it. If they're not willing to talk right now, if they're not capable of it, you don't know the story, listen to that silence. Okay? Don't press the issue and focus on you, right? And there's something about like there's something you need to acknowledge about yourself first before going forward in this dynamic, because it's like it's getting a little toxic the way you two, something about like retracing your steps, or like there's unnecessary conflict going on between the both of you that just could really easily be avoided if there was just a little more trust in what's happening. Right? Like, I feel like you and this person, I don't know if this person's a brother or a sister, or like there's a sibling dynamic here, or there's just somebody or person that's in the way, and it's like sparking jealousy and chaos. Take what resonates, but yeah, there's something about like you just need to understand that you've been heard and you've been seen, also by the universe too, especially if you're grieving something and the loss of a community, spouse, a significant other. I support your path. Yeah, so I feel like regardless of where you're going, your spirit guide team's saying, "Hey, I've got your back." With keeping your head above the chaos, I think like reaching out to have additional support right now would be beneficial to you, simply because if you're like spiraling out over a relationship or you're struggling with depression or whatever, like you're not gonna just magically wake up one day and those things are gonna be over for you. For some of you guys, it may be lifelong, right? And so knowing when's the time to say, hey, sometimes I need to sit down and discuss this with a therapist, or I need a friend that's going to sit here and just wait with me until the depression passes. You know what I mean? Because for some people, it's like it's very legitimately, it could be cyclical. It could be, something that you're like, all right, I know I got triggered due to this event coming up, so I know that the day after I need to just sit and rest. And just having a person with the mind space to just be like, okay, I'm going to sit here and do work and grade papers, or I'm going to watch TV, and then you can just lay there and be a mess, and I'm going to rub your back, or I'm going to rub your head, and it's going to be okay. Just allow self-care into your life right now and additional support while you're grieving this situation or this mess. Because I feel like for you guys, this pile, I do think like a resolution will come and the chaos is going to lift itself a little bit, but you're still going to be dealing with the aftermaths and the cycles that are closing as a chapter. And yeah, there's something like you're going to watch something, because like I'm looking at the sun and I'm like, I don't know if the sun's rising, but it doesn't feel quite right. I don't know. I think you guys will see what's coming your way. But until that time, the universe and this person is saying, yes, I heard you. You are not just a sexual partner. You are special to me always. Yeah, I don't know if you guys are worried that someone wasn't affected by you leaving, or what they heard about you, or what you said. I don't know. I get like this always energy where maybe it's kind of like you guys have been trapped in this cycle where there's like they're always doing this. And I feel like there's kind of like this energy of this person's just like fed up, or they're feeling pushed away by your energy just because you're their partner, or because there's something going on between the two of you where, like, you're partners, but you're not making choices and acting like that. You know what I mean? Maybe you didn't actually believe that this person was truly your partner on your side. And so they're feeling betrayed and hurt when they're like, why? Why are you doing this? Why are you putting this rift between the two of us? With just, I feel like there's kind of like a sense of justice that needs to be kind of put back into balance, because either you did, I feel like you guys did something that just wasn't justified, or you just didn't acknowledge, or you didn't close things out right. And then with sexual too, I don't know if maybe you guys were sexual partners, or there was some kind of like an energy between the vibe between the two of you, and it's kind of just like oh, I'm not just like a sexual partner. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just use me that way or dispose of me that way. Like, I was special, right? You were special to me? Question mark? I don't know. I feel like this other person's a little bitter, or okay, maybe not bitter, but very frustrated with you simply because they don't know what you want, and they don't know what they're moving towards, and they just can't stand the idea of this conflict between you two. That's why I think that's why it's like with both of you, you're both causing your own kind of stir and chaos. This other person's a bit more quiet about it, but everybody kind of knows, especially like if you get brought up or someone's pissed and they just close themselves off instead of normally flipping out. That's when they know something's really wrong. And like your path, I don't know if you're just going a different route than them, and so this person doesn't want to move forward without you, if that makes any sense. Like, they're kind of just literally like, I'm done with this, all this. Yeah, I'm looking over and I'm seeing like your gut. It's like maybe this person's intuition is telling them something, and their gut's like something's wrong or something's off, but they can't place it. And so they're kind of like playing dumb and happy. I feel like this person's really bad at pretending to be happy. Either for you, either getting into a new relationship, or like there's just some like back and forth energy between you guys where I'm like, come on, guys, why are you being passive aggressive with each other instead of just existing and allowing each other to exist in each other's space? Because it's like, well, we can't be happy together, we can't be happy separated. So we're both trying to heal from what all these other things going on in our life, but then we get upset and talk trash about each other when the other person's not doing what we want them to do, when we really just want them to come back. You know what I mean? It's kind of like this whole insecure vibe that I'm kind of just... Your spirit guide's not fed up with it because they were your spirit guides, but like I feel like I just have this energy that it's like you both are just so like frustrated, tense, just wanting to work this out because you don't like the situation. You don't like the proximity to each other, or you don't like being so far apart. It's both and the same at the same time. I know that I crossed the line with you. Yeah, one of you did something that you weren't supposed to do, and you crossed a line, and I think that just changed your path. I think whatever happened, and so now that you're on a different pathway, like your spirit guide team saying, hey, I know that you made plans with the assumption that this person was always going to be around, or these people were, or this situation was going to last forever, and you're like, tee hee hee, I don't know about that. And with this axolotl, I'm seeing like, I'm also thinking of my cat and like rubbing a cat belly, and like you never know where you're gonna get bit. I think just learning to release what you thought you knew and allow your path to be yours. You know what I mean? Because it's like, regardless of how much you love this person or care about these people, even if they come back or not, like, don't make decisions assuming that that will be the case. Especially if you're watching a lot of tarot readings, because like they're always going to tell you they're coming back, right? Like, don't buy into that stuff, okay? Focus on... I was hearing like, oh yeah, with like Archangel Michael, something about like Saint Michael, like do your prayers, do your... like, be with you on your pathway, okay? It's like, instead of like, I feel like whenever we're trying to think about our lives, we're in our head, we're in our bodies, our minds. But it's like, take a moment to visually step out of your life and look at it as if you were talking to a best friend. What would you tell your best friend about what you're doing right now? And support yourself that way, so that way it's not quite so like, you're not entangled with every day, especially with your emotions about this person. And with like the always, it's like that piece of you that you've always wanted to be beside you is always beside you. So then let this other person heal while you get connected to yourself back and heal it yourself. I feel you leaving me behind. Yeah, I think for some of you guys, again, if you're very anxious attachment, like, you're just scared of being left behind or leaving a situation, and like the chaos from the leaving aspect. It's probably a wound from childhood, but I feel like you're just hurt in general. Like, either you had to walk away or this person walked away from you. Um, Maybe somebody like crossed your path and now you're struggling to determine, like, well, is this my person or is it this other person? I think just understand that your choices are yours to claim and own. You're never going to have all the information you need. So that's why trusting is the most powerful thing. And focus on how you're feeling right now. Because especially if you're female body, that's going to be a really great compass for you. And if you're not, feeling is still going to be important for you for this pile, simply because of, like, with the behind, if you're feeling behind, that should tell you something at least. Especially if you're watching your peers kind of elevate in other ways. Start asking yourself, what can I do to integrate back into being more of myself and independent, as opposed to being entangled in this other person or this chaos or this messy situation. Projected future days, weeks, months. Ooh, I don't know why, but something with projected. I don't know if you're working on a project. You've just got a really great road ahead. And what I'm seeing with this is, like, with the highway, I think, like, if you start viewing life or whatever's going on with the situation as kind of like a roadmap or a journey, where you're always like, what's going around, like, what's going to be around the bend? You know what I mean? What's coming next? What's coming next? Like, just kind of leave it as, like, just like that image shows, with, like, a sun that's peeking over the mountains, and you're going to be like, okay, there's a turn, and now we're going up a hill, and then we're going down a hill, and, like, look at it that way, because I think your future's very bright. And when you focus on the brightness of all aspects of your life, this isn't going to seem as important. And even if this situation was significant on your journey and pathway, it's not going to force you into a box. You know what I mean? Because there's so much going on here. Because, like I said, like, I don't really feel the situation was, like, the worst thing ever or the best thing ever. It was just a situation, right? And all that chaos and hurt and pain there's something that's going to grow from it, that's going to make you stronger, right? And with, like, blame, blame shifts away the perspectives that we need in order to heal. And it, like, justifies why we do what we do and how we hurt other people, and not being able to acknowledge our path and how spiritually we're affected by this back and forth between, like, please, please, please love me, and then, oh, I hate you. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, you can't have it both ways, And that's part of the growth process, It's like you're just being a human person, And if you made a mistake, it's okay to own up to that. The fifth dimension. I'm just smiling. Aw, you guys are a cute couple. And some of you guys are like, yeah, like, through, like, tears or whatever, and it's just like, it's gonna be okay, guys. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you can always talk to this person, the fifth dimension, and I feel like, maybe you're picking up on stuff right now. Like, don't be relying on what you're psychically picking up on, because I think, like, you're intentionally being disrupted from the truth just so that you can focus on your path. But I do feel like this person, at least in the 5D or on the, like, astral plane, they are supporting your path and your independence and your growth and healing as well, because they want that for you too. If this person loved you and cared about you, they want you to be safe and happy, and they want to be able to hear you. And I don't think right now they're in the position to be able to be a partner that you're looking for and needing. And with behind, it's just kind of like, yeah, they know they're behind. Maybe they aren't as emotionally intelligent as you, or maybe they don't have an educational background, or maybe there's just something about you two's dynamic where, like, you're just more advanced than them. And that's, like, nobody's fault. You know what I mean? It's like, sometimes some partners just don't fit that way. That doesn't mean they don't love each other. You know what I mean? And so, like, just focus on the path more than the perspective. And finally, obsession, must have, indulge. Yeah, with the must have, to keep your head above the chaos, you gotta get rid of that must have energy. All right, you know what I mean? It's like I'm seeing like with the donuts, it's like eating way too many donuts and feeling sick after all the sugar, and you don't want to even drink milk and to like clear your palate because it's like you're just feeling so sick from the sticky energy. Yeah, I might do a pick a card reading at some point about how to heal from obsession because I feel like whatever this obsession is like obsessed with not being single, being obsessed with this person, obsession in general. I think like it slows you down. And as part of keeping your head above the chaos, it's like really paying attention and being wise and strategic about when your mind goes down those pathways and questioning it. Like, what is the benefit of me once again rehashing the same conversation I want to have with this person over and over again? You know what I mean? Like, what makes me feel sane? You know, because I feel like sometimes your obsession causes you to feel like you're going nuts, and that's kind of your own fault and own doing, but like, that's where the mental health thing comes into play because you can work with a therapist or somebody to help navigate that inner landscape in a more professional setting. I can't offer that stuff because I'm not a therapist, but yeah, I was gonna say, you know, whatever's going on with your partner, you know, just focus on eliminating obsession or reducing it as much as possible. Because I know it seems fun in the books and movies, but in real life, it can be really detrimental to your relationships. Anyways, though, and your path, it can be really detrimental to your relationships and your path going forward. Anyways, thank you guys so much for sticking around for this message. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, and share. Um, Check out my website in the links down below if you want to book a session and to learn more about mindovermania and what's going on over here. Yeah, thank you guys so much, and I will see you all next time. Take care. Mwah. Hello, everyone. You have chosen group number 4 with the Your Energy Introduces You Before You Even Speak sticker. And these are going to be your messages on how to keep your head above the chaos. Right before your pile started, I just felt like I need to slow down. I took a couple deep breaths and I was thinking to myself, okay, just coming back into balance and just really just like feeling my energy just kind of like shift. And it felt so good because it's almost like, man, it's like right after you work out when all of that, you know, built up energy in your body has been released. And so now you're just feeling like the hormones and stuff like causing you to chill out. That's what I feel like maybe you guys need to do. Maybe like working out or trying to just really like shake it off for a bit. I do have an article on my blog about somatic exercises, so feel free to check that out if you want to learn about how to get in touch with your body. But yeah. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into your messages from Spirit. So okay, right off the bat, sorry, I didn't even get into the cards, but I was feeling like you guys need to know that you are doing a good job, all right? And something with like speaking to, you guys are speaking out loud your needs to the and wants to the universe. And that's also super important, okay? Because like that communication and not being in your head is really going to help with you navigating your current situation and processing things. Because I think like if you try to keep everything contained inside of you, it's not going to go well for you. I don't know if you've been trapping or if you've been like keeping a secret or there's some kind of just like this really deep knowing inside of you that you just need to get out there. And I know it's like really hard for you guys because especially if you've grown up in environments where you were shut off or people tell you to shut up all the time and there's just this energy like you got to release that and just say things and not care. I mean, look at how many famous people, incompetent people, like all kinds of different people are just saying things all the time, you know? And it's like, and not even just to shame people that are not smart or whatever. It's this idea that somebody is more worthy than another person in order to communicate. And that's just simply not true. And I feel like, you know, you guys already have maybe a strong internal shame system where they're like, oh, well, I'm just a wimp for being vulnerable, or I shouldn't talk about those politics, or I shouldn't talk about these things that are affecting me at home, right? And I mean, yeah, if you want to protect yourself, that's fine, but sometimes vulnerability and exposing your truth to others shows power and strength, sometimes more than the stone faced tough guy thing that's going on here. Um, I don't know if you've been the subject of conversation too, so that's also making it hard for you to be like able to hide. You know what I mean? And something about like your energy too. Like, I'm sorry, it kind of feels like no matter what you do, people always kind of know what's going on with you anyway, so you might as well talk about it. You know, you're not very good at hiding your feelings, guys. Oh wow, that's so cool. So pile number 4, you got Joan of Arc, the warrior of light. I have a steel-like faith in myself. The angels armored me with conviction. That's kind of crazy. So I just got 2 tattoos. And I literally, while I was recording this video, I was taking off the tape for my tats, and the sword was hurting really bad, or not really bad, but it was hurting. And then, I see with Joan of Arc's sword here, I just feel like there's a lot of truth that you're going to expose and bring to light, and it's specifically divinely guided truth. Like, I don't see you guys coming out there being like, well, whales expel this much sperm into the ocean every month, you know what I mean? Or like, you're not like going out here chopping people's head off for no reason. Like, you guys come out here and say, hey, what's going on here is wrong, and this is what we're going to do about it. You know what I mean? You're very clear cut, straight to the point. And with angels and whatnot, I feel like to some people you guys are like a little, I don't want to say forbidden angel, because maybe you're kind of not the hero everyone expected. I mean, that's what Joan of Arc kind of was, is they're like, oh, she's a woman, she's like this little girl or whatever, and then she comes in and she's kicking everyone's butt and everyone's like and like, here's the thing too, is like Joan of Arc, I mean, yeah, she was a woman, and yeah, she was a fighter, but like, here's the thing, I'm sure there were probably men twice her size that were physically stronger than her, had more battle experience, but the difference between her and them was she had spiritual intuition and insight that helped her win battles. She was backed by the universe and by God, according to the legends. And that's what you guys have, right? Like, I think some of you guys, you're like preparing for this major battle, and you're like, all right, maybe I need to study martial arts, or maybe I gotta, like, study a certain type of practice or a way of being. I gotta meditate, and I just gotta, like, yeah, really get in tune with God and nature. And you're missing the point. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I feel like Joan of Arc, I mean, what's interesting about her is, like, I think she was a real person, but the lore and the image of her is way more powerful than probably the actual human being was. The legacy she left is way more powerful and important than probably what she was like day to day. It's the things she said, the words she used to cut through all of this is what creates the things and makes it happen, right? She's got this armor and protection around her, and she's trusting that she's safe, because she knows who she is. She knows who she's working for. You know what I mean? Like, who are you more afraid of? Your boss at work or Archangel Michael? You know what I mean? Coming in and doling out justice and truth on people. And again, like, I think what's super amazing about this frequency that you guys are working with too is the fact that despite the cutting nature of it, to those who are of with the light, it's going to feel like a balm. It's going to feel so soft. And that's what's kind of interesting about spirituality and divinity, is when you're working with light language, higher frequency, like, to a lot of people that are vibing in that frequency, it just feels so good, and it's not going to hurt the same way as someone who's not spiritually inclined. And that's kind of like the idea of, like, when they talk about, like, casting out the darkness, you guys, for your purposes of understanding how to navigate it, is understanding that it's not your problem to question things. Because, like, yeah, you're gonna see stuff going on around you, but, like, if you're completely zen and within yourself and connecting to a higher power, it's not gonna matter, because you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you're protected, and you've got this wisdom and shine to you that's gonna help a lot of people. I don't know, I see, like, with the banner, maybe you're gonna just start the war, like, the war cry, and get people going. I don't know why, but I was thinking of the war eagle. Actually, yeah, looking at this flag, we've got Archangel Michael on this flag. Yeah, I forget the story of Joan of Arc, if Archangel Michael was tied to her, but more than likely. But yeah, we got some synchronicity there. I did not expect to leave. So some of you guys, you don't know when things are going to change up for you. And so maybe that's where some of the chaos is coming in is you're kind of like, all right, I was going on this pathway. Spirit's telling me to go do like a 90-degree angle. And you're going to have to change really, really quickly. Or I shouldn't say quickly, but you're going to notice your mind sometimes pivoting in ways you don't fully understand. Take a break so you understand what is your mind and what is spirit. You know, mind over mania. Sometimes maybe your mental health can get in the way. Sometimes there's projections from other people. Sometimes there's things you can't even see. All right. And so this is going to be like a testament to your resolve and how you resolve things versus what is divinely guided of you. Because at the end of the day, anytime you're like being divinely guided towards a situation or communication or anything, it's going to be easy and effortless. But whenever that light is gone from you, suddenly you're scrambling, right? You're like, oh my gosh, I'm back to being a person. I don't know how I'm handling this stuff. I can't believe I did that crazy thing. Oh my gosh. And that's where the light comes in. Because just because you channel messages and help other people and you feel like a champion or you're helping does not mean that you don't get a piece of that too. You know what I mean? It's kind of like with Joan of Arc. I mean, she was really taken care of, at least for her spiritual beliefs, and the idea of her being separated from the light doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Because the light is you and you are the light. Um, and steel like faith, I feel like with like the steel there, I think you're just gonna have to be really honest about your discipline and needing to like control. I was about to say your cycles, and then I was like, it went to boundaries. It's like there's just something about the fact that, like, again, if you're catching yourself doing that, you're not gonna always swing left and right and whatever. It's kind of just being like, all right, I'm gonna stick to this for a while, but I'm gonna understand that I'm not always going to be straight moving the course. But I'm not going to expect that of others. And I'm going to treat myself with love and respect the light, you know, that's inside of me. That, okay, I'm not this perfect human. In fact, I'm a flawed human, you know, and I'm going to make mistakes and it's going to be public sometimes. And sometimes I'm going to show up not dressed fully ready. And that's going to make people love you even more. And that's where you're going to start understanding conviction and being like, yeah, you know what? Maybe Joan of Arc sometimes would show up right before a battle and she didn't put one of her socks on because guess what? She had to go. You know what I mean? No one's paying attention to the socks in the middle of a sword fight, right? Maybe if you're watching TV, but not when you're actually at the battle yourself and you're on the line, you know? And that's where like Spirit's saying, just like relax. I don't know. Spirit's just like sitting there like this. Like literally this like happy ass axolotl just like looking at you like, yay, look at you go, yay, like your spirit guide team's so happy for you and you're like, god, what's happening? And they're like, yay. We're not gonna tell you what's happening, just go with it, have fun, you know. I'm almost seeing like in those movies where, you know, there's like those big fight scenes and you get to watch your favorite superheroes like beating people up and you're like, yeah, go that person. But it's like one of them gets like self-awareness halfway through. I'm feeling like a Deadpool moment and you're going to be like, oh my God. And you're going to be like, shh, 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 the best part's coming. Just imagine like Wade Wilson whispering in your ear and just being like, shh, shh, shh. Just watch. Nice spandex. You know what I mean? I knew exactly what I was doing. Yeah, I think like your spirit guide team is saying like spirit knows what's going on. Ultimately, always. And so that's why following spirit, like the more you make choices that are in alignment with that, the more things are going to start making sense. Especially like at first, maybe you're going to like fight it and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm not your puppet, shaking your fist at the universe. And then you like looking back you can go, wow, actually, yeah, spirit was right. I was being dumb, I was being a child, I didn't know better. And that's okay because spirit loves you, you know, just like a very patient mother or father. But you're gonna learn about what you're doing in order to keep your head above the chaos, because I feel like as things become more clear after the mess, after the battle's been won and you're doing your time or you're doing your thing, doing time. I don't know. Are you going to jail? That's pretty awesome. But like what you were doing has so much more of an impact than the result that happens from this. Um, Take what resonates, but I don't know. You're gonna do something pretty great and cool, so don't worry about it. Lockbox, closed in, trapped, frustrated. Yeah, maybe some of you are. Maybe some of you guys are gonna get arrested. I don't know. Maybe doing the right thing, civil disobedience or something. But with closed in, I feel like your spirit guide team saying, "Hey, maybe close your energy off and don't be available to energy frequencies that are not meant for you." Okay, so like maybe for example you're having night terrors and you keep waking up at like 3 in the morning and asking God, like, why are you sending me these crazy ass dreams? And your spirit guide team saying, we told you. Did you forget to do your weekly mantras or your cleansings? Like there's something about with like you getting frustrated at times where you're like, I don't understand what the message is. Like all these other times I can channel this and I can do this cool stuff, but then when it comes to like right now, why am I not able to channel anything? And like that's on purpose, you know? Because you aren't perfect. And that's what's kind of cool about this whole thing is it's perfectly imperfect, you know? And that the fact that yeah, you're not always going to get it right, but you are going to get it right as a result of being in oneness with the universe. And so like with the SOS, you know, I'm seeing with the little heart in there, it's kind of like again, I'm seeing like the movie of like, okay, the protagonist is in jail, and then like all of a sudden the little axolotl comes up and be like, hey, we're breaking you out with like a smile, and then like you guys have like a dramatic exit from jail, and you're like, yeah, and it's like that could literally be you like breaking out of your mental prison, you know, in the metaphorical sense. Because like some of you guys, like maybe this whole battle thing, maybe it's not like a big picture battle. It could literally be you fighting within yourself over a situation or a certain kind of toxicity that you need to let go of in order to see the light, you know? And you're going to be triumphant, you know? As long as you continue on your path, I think you can't really avoid it, which is kind of cool. Nice to meet you, by the way. Children, young, playful, childhood. Yeah, I think, like, I don't know if you guys have children, but there's something about, like, with keeping your head above the chaos, making sure that you are paying attention to the children in your life, simply because they know how to handle things better than adults do sometimes. And there's something about spirits asking you guys, or spirits asking me to tell you guys that, if you're noticing how children walk, talk, and behave, especially around certain types of vibes or frequencies, how they react and respond is a direct reflection of how a lot of these toxic people are behaving, right? So if you know how to handle children respectfully, you can handle these adults just fine. Because there's a correlation. Okay, like that's the big bad secret is a lot of these tough, angry, narcissistic people. Again, I don't like using the word narcissist, but like let's be honest. Yeah, there's just something about this like childish, immature adult energy that like, well, if you're dealing with a lot of folks who are mentally trapped in childhood because there's a lot of stuff relating to trauma that causes that, then what you can do is help people connect with that, recognize it, and then learn the skills to not control that person, but to affect them in a way that makes them being able to put their guard down a little bit, you know? And then gradually over time, people can recover and change and heal of their own choices. But like, that's where you have to like let go of that spite of like, that person's never going to grow or change. Be like, well, that's not up to you. It's up to spirit. And so as long as you hold the line on what you know is your truth, then it's all going to work out. Again, just imagine spirit being like the little axolotl that's like sitting on your shoulder being like, yeah, you can do it. It's going to be the one that tells you where to go anyway. I hide behind material things. Yeah, there's something about like, I'm upset with being in the financial position I'm in, or there's something about like, you're a child. Why do you care about these sorts of things? Like, I don't know if there's like a spiritual narcissism that some people have about like, you're supposed to not want to have any items or belongings, or you can't look like that or be that way and be spiritual, which is kind of interesting because to me, I'm like, why can't I enjoy the blessings that Spirit provided me. And it's almost like there's a difference between the people that do give up their wealth to follow God and Christ and like all these different spiritual people, and the people that they like spiritual people like that because they can have control over them, because they think spirituality is stupid and they don't think it's real. And I think like you're gonna prove them in a very nasty way, like not coming from you, but Spirit's gonna make it very apparent that like Spirit is the one that provides power to people, not ego. And with like the hiding, I think like as you're keeping your head above the chaos, you're gonna want to hide because I think you're gonna be afraid from all the amazing things that you're gonna be doing, and you're gonna be hiding maybe from other people for a little bit. But like don't worry about the wealth and the money for the time being. I think like there's something about like I'm focusing on Thor's hammer I got sitting over there. Like you have to put your foot down at some point, and I think that's going to be part of the cycle that you're breaking, is because people before you didn't take a stand, and now you're entering a Joan of Arc era. And it's going to be pretty glorious because what a battle that's going to be. I hope that you can forgive me one day. Yeah, I feel like someone is going to learn their lesson. A lot of people are going to learn their lesson about who's actually in charge and what matters. And I'm just saying on a personal level, you don't have to force yourself to forgive anybody, but I think as part of being a spiritual person, you're going to learn forgiveness naturally as you evolve and grow and heal and change. And especially like the more you heal others, you just naturally forgive by kind of forgetting, you know, because you're going to be surrounded by so much love that it's like all what they do doesn't really matter to you, because you know that you're going to be all right and the people around you are going to be all right. Yeah, I just see you coming away victorious. Like it's going to be so awesome, but there's going to be a battle for sure. Yeah, there's something about like I did not. So I don't know if you're going to get falsely accused for something. It's going to backfire like in a major way. You're going to cause a panic attack in someone. Maybe you have a panic attack and mental breakdown. You're like, oh my gosh, my life's going to be over. And then like it all comes out in the end, and it's like, interesting. I didn't know it was supposed to work out that way. Maybe that was before. Like maybe there was something about there was the old you, but the new you, Joan of Arc, man. But you just gotta stand on your gun. Like I was gonna, yeah, okay, stand on your guns. Maybe that's a specific metaphor, as being like, you don't need to have weapons to take a stand and emerge victorious. I don't know, I'm getting like the image of like Gandhi, but like not like Gandhi. You know what I mean? Because he wasn't also the greatest either. He was a great guy, but he also wasn't. But yeah, you don't need to fight the same way because you've got more firepower on the spiritual side of things than anything. So yeah, and like you can't change the world, but God can. Anyways, though, guys, thank you guys so much. I hope that was helpful. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to sit and watch my tarot readings. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. And if you're interested in booking me for a personal session, links in the description down below. And check out my blog about different spiritual topics and things. Anyways, I will see you all next time. Take care. Bye. I love you.